And now I've got the great pleasure to zoom straight into Munich to say hello to Yannick Wagner, who is Vice President Development Central Europe, or also the DACH region as it's called, which is Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Hello, Yannick. How are you today?
Hi, Nils. I'm fine. Thank you. And yourself?
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. The sun is shining, even though it's winter in Cape Town. But, you know, we have a saying in Cape Town that says, if you don't like the weather, wait for 2 hours. So this morning it was raining, then we had blue sky, and now it's starting to close up again. But we're not talking about the weather. We've got other more important things to talk about today. Accor. Accor, a big player in the industry internationally, here in Africa, coming out of France, but you are in charge of the development in the DACH region, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. It'll be a waste of time to go back too long now, but at the moment, hotel opens. How many hotels are open in your region?
Well, the trend is certainly positive. We are going upwards. We have now nearly 70% of our hotels opened in our region. So approximately 330 out of 470 hotels that we have opened now. And numbers are growing strongly. And it's also on the worldwide basis, the trend is certainly positive.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's stick with the numbers a little bit. Trend positive is one thing, but the numbers that we have seen in the various STR seminars or webinars and what we read, where are your numbers sort of at the moment? Where are you looking at? And is there one thing which STR came out with, which I thought was very interesting, is the booking pattern, you know, like sort of in the city hotels, you know, the peaks in the week and then weekends a little bit lower. Do you see already these patterns developing properly? So is it at least from a pattern perspective, a return to normal?
I would not say yet that we are returned to normal, but also here we certainly see that the trend is going in the right direction. Again, occupancy rates are going up again, which is certainly positive and what we were all hoping for. And also when we look at the pickup going forward over the next weeks and months, it's also going upwards. It will certainly take a while till we get to the normal, if we want to say that pre-COVID was the normal, until we get to that level again. But certainly, certain patterns are coming back and so on. We certainly see a little bit much more leisure demand than business demand currently. But we remain optimistic and positive that it goes in the right direction.
Now, you mentioned leisure demand versus corporate demand. Do you also see out of you cover basically the whole range of classes or of segmentation of hotels. Do you see, is luxury better than budget better than mid-scale? Which one is the one that at the moment is kind of edging forward?
I mean, on average, when you look through the entire portfolio, it's certainly that the economy brands are the ones that are recovering the quickest. And then we have, of course, as well the long stay segment, which has always been on a slightly higher level anyway, going through the entire crisis. So that's really the segments that are recovering the best. Luxury, we are all expecting that it will take a little bit longer to get back, as it has been for all other crises in the past as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'd like to stay a little bit with the long stay, because that's something which I think a lot of players have looked at. We have looked at, you know, PKF is about to open a new company called PKF Living Experts, where we look at these kind of products a little bit closer because they seem to emerge. What would you say are the secret ingredients in the sauce that make them a little bit more, or a lot more, I don't want to say crisis-proof, but perform better in the crisis than your traditional hotel product?
I need to be careful that I don't reveal too many secrets. No, but certainly, I mean, there's several aspects to it. The one is, of course, when we look at the question of security in terms of hygiene and so on, that you have less contact, people are more in their rooms, in their apartments. They have their kitchen in there, so they are not so much in need of getting out of their rooms and to get into contact with other people. That's certainly one aspect. Then the long-term aspect, simply spoken, people are just staying much longer. So you have a certain basis occupancy rate that you just have that allows you to cover certain fixed costs. And of course, since you have so many people staying longer, it's also much easier to plan on the cost perspective, on the staff, and so on. So also in terms of margins, then it becomes very attractive concept. And we are such strong believers in the long stay segment as a group, the Accor group, that we have in the meantime over the last months and actually years already developed actually long stay concepts in more or less every segment from luxury to the economy segment. So it's really one that we strongly believe in and that has a huge potential, of course now in the crisis as well, but also coming out of the crisis.
Right. Are there others in the offing? Are there more that you now maybe, because you see the success, are you looking at redefining some of those concepts?
Of the long stay concepts?
Yeah.
No, not specifically redefining. Certainly, we are still working on some of them to get them better known, to position them clearer on the market, but not so much redefining.
No, when I was saying redefining, I was looking at sort of certain flexibility, because over the last few weeks, months, we've also spoken about how can one repurpose rooms or apartments faster. I live now and I work tomorrow, and how to mix all those things.
Yeah, okay, you're talking about the mix with co-working or such possibilities and so on. That's okay. Yeah, that's for us. It's not so much a question now specifically to the crisis. It's something as part of our augmented hospitality strategy as such. That we have already been working on strongly before crisis. Certainly some aspects will be accelerated now thanks to the crisis, or despite because of the crisis. Especially, yes, the co-working aspect can be one of them. Combining, we have already with the Adagio concept, for example, developed a combination where you combine the co-working, co-living, long stay, everything in one concept. So that's actually something that we have already been working before the crisis, and that we continue work on, and that we believe that actually now is even more the time to push that forward.
Right. Now, being the man in charge of development in the DACH region, the DACH region has done phenomenally well over the last few years, and figures were going up, and now they're like this. But you look at development, you don't look immediately. You look at going into the future. The pipeline, your pipeline, that is probably what you measure yourself at, what you are being measured against. What is that looking like now, and how has it been? How has it been affected? Are there now a lot of people saying, look, are we stopping? Or are people saying, no, we believe in the future? Or has it tapered down? What is the situation as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, I mean, first thing, we are, of course, looking long-term, but for us, development means also short-term, the so-called, what we call the instant noodles, which are a hotel that we can sign now and open in 4 weeks, which is a very important topic for us as well in terms of development, and where we actually see a lot of potential as well for the month to come. Talking to individual hotels that now even more than ever want to get a big brand and the access to the systems and everything. So there we see definitely a pickup in numbers of projects that we are treating. And besides that, I mean, our pipeline today, it's roughly 50 hotels in the region that we have. So far, none of all the projects that we have signed has been cancelled. So that's very good news. Certainly some aspects, some projects are moving forward a little bit slower, especially, I mean, authorities are not reacting that quickly when it comes to construction permits. architects, planners, so on, are working short time and so on. So everything goes forward a little bit slower. The same when it comes to discussing new projects. As I mentioned already, we certainly have a switch to more existing hotel takeovers. That we definitely see in the market, that will be the bigger focus over the next months to come.
Yeah.
But even on new build projects, we actually had a very few projects only that have been really put on hold. Even only one single project that we were negotiating has been cancelled in the last 3 months. So which still looks quite positive going forward, that all the other projects will actually be picked up again sooner or later.
No, that sounds very good. I think you can be happy with that result. Were there any that may have changed tack, where let's say you were looking at the one brand and because of the situation somebody said, oh, let me rather go with the other, or concept change of some of the projects?
Yes, that, yeah, certainly. One, we mentioned it already before, one segment that is of course questioned a little bit more than before is the luxury segment, for example. So we had one project where we were on with a luxury brand that after rediscussion with the owner, we said, okay, let's rather switch to a premium brand. So certainly we had discussions like that going on. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yannick, we're running out of time. Just a quick, in closing.
I booked an hour.
Yeah, I wish. I really do wish. In closing, a positive aspect, is there anything that you take out of it where you say, you know, once we are out of this, you know, at least we have done X, Y, Z well, or at least we could learn from something. Is there something positive that we can close with?
Well, I think at least when I look at our group, the crisis certainly makes us rethink again a lot of things, how we do business, how we manage the hotels, how we treat the guests in our hotels, and especially on a speed level, which without the crisis would normally have taken much longer. And I think many of it goes in the right direction to make us even better in many aspects, on how we treat our guests, on how we treat our partners, on how we treat investors. So in every aspect at the end of the day. And so that's why we are quite confident, and very confident actually, to get out of the crisis much stronger than before.
Well, you couldn't say anything more positive than that. Yannick Wagner, Vice President DACH region for Accor, I thank you for your time and wish you very, very well.
Thanks, Nils.
Thank you.